In today's episode, if you don't like something you ordered, please tell your server. Table of regulars screwed me over. Highlight reel from last night. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. If you don't like something you ordered, please tell your server. This rant is inspired by reading the Google reviews for my restaurant, where someone I remember serving complained about a dish without mentioning anything during their meal. Now, I'm the first to admit my restaurant isn't the most consistent. We're a new place and the kitchen is constantly understaffed for obvious reasons. We have a great team and a great menu, but mistakes happen and sometimes dishes get sent out incorrectly or aren't ran fast enough, since we're also short on food runners. That being said, I don't care how small the issue is or whether you're still willing to eat it. If you dislike something you ordered or it's incorrect, say something. Even if you don't want it remade/replaced, speaking up helps us keep the kitchen up to speed, and they always appreciate the feedback. If there's actually something wrong with your dish, over/undercooked, way too salty, off-tasting, unusually tough steak, etc., the kitchen needs to be aware of this so they can remedy the issue for future orders. Chances are you're not the only person to have an issue with it. For example, if multiple pasta dishes are getting sent back for being too salty, the pasta water is probably oversalted, or an undertrained cook is finishing the pastas with too much cheese. The sooner the chefs are made aware of the issue, the sooner they can address its root and make sure it doesn't happen again. Even if there's nothing technically wrong with the dish, but you're just not the biggest fan, please still say something. I understand not wanting to inconvenience the server or kitchen, but I'd much rather get you something you actually like as soon as possible than watch you pick at your meal while swearing everything is fine. We all have our personal preferences, and someone's perfect dish can be too salty and or spicy for another person, while being too bland for someone else. Your idea of a medium rare steak is someone else's idea of rare, and someone else's idea of medium. Part of the beauty of going out to eat is getting the opportunity to try new dishes and ingredients, but that comes with not always liking what you try or not having it be what you expected, and that's okay. I don't want you to have a bad experience or pay good money for something you didn't enjoy. I'm only unsympathetic to people sending their food back or complaining when you complained about your food being cold after spending 10 minutes taking pictures of it, or deciding to go for a long smoke right when it came out. You complained about something after eating a majority of it, unless you found something like a hair in your food. If you really don't like something, you'll know in the first few bites, and your server will check in with you to give you the opportunity to send it back. If you eat a good amount and realize once you're full that the dish isn't your favorite, take it as a learning experience and don't order it again. Complaining about something after eating most of it just comes off like you're trying to get another meal for free, get it taken off the bill despite eating it, or get something like a free dessert. Your issue comes down to your inability to read a menu X sending something back because it has bacon in it, and you don't eat pork, even though the menu clearly states that the dish has bacon in it. There's nothing wrong with your food, you just ordered too much and got full off the appetizers. Take your leftovers to go and use it as a learning experience about what happens when your eyes are bigger than your stomach. Table of regulars screwed me over. This happened yesterday. I work at a small mom and pop, family-owned restaurant. I serve half the restaurant and my section has the big tables for groups of 5 to 8. I was doing something in the kitchen and come out to the front to see I got sat a 7 top, just one man present at the moment. My boss, the other server/owner, said she thinks it's a group with a couple of regulars that the owners are sort of friends with. I'll call them V and M. The group consisted of VM, a nice man I've never seen before, NM, and another younger couple with 2 babies who I've never seen before. I'll call them Rude Lady and Rude Man, RL/RM. When most of the party is sat, everyone except V, I went to see if they'd like any drinks. Me and M were joking around about something because we know each other, and he comes in with V all the time. As I'm trying to get a drink order, RM interrupts me and says something like, "Can I just order? I want to get my order in right now." even though not everybody in their party has arrived yet. So I take his order and I asked if anyone else wanted to order. RL says with an attitude, you need to take my order too, I'm hungry, I can't wait. Fine, but she doesn't even know what she wants yet. I get orders from everyone and go to get hers last. She says she wants the combo we offer, but she told me I want the French dip and classic, which are 2 sandwiches. I asked her, you want 2 sandwiches? Just want to let you know we don't have a combo offer for 2 sandwiches. She looks at me crazy and says, what? I don't want 2 sandwiches, I said I want the French onion soup and classic. I just ignore her stupidity and continue taking her order. I asked her if she wanted a full sandwich or half sandwich, because that's an option if you get the combo with soup. She said I don't care, just whatever comes with it for this price. So I confirmed the order with her, half a sandwich and soup. She's just giving me a stupid look saying okay. Okay. Time to gather up the menus from the table. V and M are helping me gather and stack them and passing them to me, but RL throws her menu across the table at me, almost hitting her child in the face with it. Food comes out, all except RL's because she had a sh*t ton of mods on her sandwich. Her food comes out last, but she's in the bathroom, so when she comes out, I let her know I just delivered her food at the table. After about 5 minutes I'm doing checks on my computer, and V comes up with RL's sandwich saying she didn't order that. So I went back to the table to talk to RL. She said this isn't the sandwich I ordered. I said I wanted what the guys are having. I told her I'm sorry, and I showed her my pad where I wrote down her order to show her that's what she told me she wanted. She was trying to argue with me, but I just took the sandwich back to the kitchen, so they could make another one the way she says she wants it now all of a sudden. The kitchen staff were getting pissed at this lady too, because I was telling them about what's going on at that table. So now I have a full sandwich for RL, I drop it off, everything seems fine. I start to walk away, and they're yelling at me that they want a small plate of watermelon for the kids. I'm like, oh okay, so I went to get it. I drop that off and start to walk away. I'm halfway across the restaurant when they call me back again. Now they want powdered sugar on the watermelon. I return to the kitchen with the plate of watermelon and start sprinkling powdered sugar on them, and the whole kitchen gathers around to watch and saying EWWW, the table is crazy. They're still halfway through eating their food when I see RM come up the counter and try to order stuffed togo with my boss. I cut in because they're my table, so I add their togos to their bill, and he says he wants to pay it right away. They racked up a $160 bill, left me $10. After all of my running back and forth, being undermined by her, and you leave me roughly a 5% tip? I was so pissed. I wouldn't have been so mad if it was just anyone, but the fact it was V and Ms. Group that did this to me really ticked me off. I told my boss I am never serving their groups ever again after this, especially not that RL. Highlight reel from last night. Busy diner, next door to a concert venue. The sign at the front door says please wait to be seated. There are 2 hosts. Huge line out the door, we're on a wait, and guests start telling each other to just walk around to the back door, you can sit down at a table back there and skip the line. This was my section. I had at least 6 different tables sneak in the back and seat themselves at dirty tables, or at clean tables still awaiting their reservation. I kept having to ask if these new tables had checked in with the host stand, knowing they hadn't, because the table was dirty, and or they had no menus, and they lied and said they had. I made so many people get right back up again, and go back to the front. The worst was when the host would bring them right back to my section again, because they'd already switched the existing reservations to elsewhere, after seeing people sitting there. Look, if you sit yourselves at dirty tables, and you have no menus, you're getting ignored. Especially if I know you snuck in the back, because you think the rules somehow don't apply to you. I just wish the hosts would stop capitulating to these over-entitled people, because now that it's worked for them once, they're going to keep doing it. We served 180 covers in just under 2 hours. It was a madhouse. There's also a broken table in my section. It's a long booth table that has come unbolted from the wall. It's just leaning against the wall on one end, unsupported by anything. I put a huge sign on it that says out of order because it's unsafe. Literally nobody who works here would ever sit anyone at that table. People were sneaking in the back door and finding that empty table, pushing the sign aside, trying to sit themselves there, and then getting all upset with me when the table fell down on them. Sorry you can't read and you think you're so special gravity will stop working just for you, I guess? 5 minutes before we closed, the show let out and 100 really drunk people walked in. We had the whole place 95% cleaned up, and we were just about ready to go. The manager told the first few people they had just enough time to order one last round of drinks from the bar, and that started the stampede. Suddenly people were rushing in and being sat by the manager/host, and sitting themselves, at tables all over the closed dining room and demanding to be served because the bar was 4 deep and they didn't feel like standing. I rang in one round of drinks for 5 different tables of people and closed them out immediately, telling them we were closed and this was just a courtesy round while they waited for their Ubers and such. The people who bypassed the host and sat themselves at dirty tables got ignored, and sat there glaring daggers at me while I ran my ass off running drinks out for the folks who had actually been sat with menus. One lady had the audacity to wave her arms frantically and flag me down demanding to know why if I was the server, I wasn't waiting on her party of 6, and I said well, we closed over a half hour ago and the bar was the only place to place an order, but you walked in and ignored the rules and bypassed the host and sat yourself here at a dirty table without any menus or anything and I'm sorry, but I had no way of knowing you wanted to order anything because you literally ignored all the direction and rules we have in place to prevent exactly this sort of thing from happening. She got all huffy and went to the bar and screamed at the bartender about how she'd been waiting for over 30 minutes to be served and the bartender was like well we closed more than half an hour ago, so I'm not surprised. She served her anyway and got 0 tip for her kindness. Most of the drunk folks were still there 90 minutes later, while we were unsuccessfully trying to vacuum around them and clean the glassware off the tables. They threw their over 21 wristbands and empty water bottles and beer cups from the concert all over the place. They trashed the bathrooms. People tried sitting themselves at the broken table so many times that the last time it fell, I just left it laying on the ground. Why do people act like this? Just deciding to go somewhere for drinks or food doesn't make you super special. Why do they go to a place, hear that they're closing in 5 minutes, think it's cool to act like unsocialized toddlers, and then hang out for almost 2 hours?